What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about those Last of Us 3 leaks. And there's really two different paths we got to go down and talk about here, and they both come from insiders that are not known for gaming, right? Now, Viewer Anon, we have talked a lot about, primarily because I've covered Scream, and this guy is right on the money with that, and that is going to play itself out in this video, because I trust him a lot, and he's been saying he was actually the first one to talk about The Last of Us 3 just in general, that it was happening. He's the one who mentions, Ellie and this string of rumors that we're going to go over, but this actually comes from Daniel RPK, who he's obviously very into the movies, right, and he gets some really big things right. He also gets some things wrong, and I do generally trust him, but I trust him for movies and television and stuff like that, not necessarily for gaming. And the big thing to remember here is I don't believe he knows which game he's talking about, / I don't think he has the full picture. So he kind of went on a huge, summary of info that he knew and was talking about 5 new characters to The Last of Us. Now, again, he framed it as The Last of Us 3, right? This third game. And he talked about characters Lucas, Mason, Val, Ezra, Gracie. He talked about it kind of being like an outskirts, like kind of camp, something that's very much removed from Abby and Ellie, that these are the main characters, or at least these are pretty substantial characters in the game. So he kind of just went off on this entire thing, and it got people kind of confused. Is he talking about The Last of Us multiplayer? So originally, I thought that's what he's talking about. We know the multiplayer is going to have story elements for this to kind of be, some sort of camp with a whole new group of survivors. They talk about how it's diverse and all these different kinds of people. All right, well, that does, I think, very much fit a multiplayer. That's the first thing that I thought of. Now, you could then think, well, maybe it's simply just a part of The Last of Us 3, right? You have multiple different groups. You had Last of Us 2, multiple locations. Last of Us 1, I think a little bit more, solidified, or, everybody's kind of their own arc in the game with like Bill and Sam and Henry and stuff. So maybe a little bit bigger than that, but it could easily be that as well. This could just be some small 2-3 hour arc that Ellie or Abby make their way through as they go through The Last of Us Part 3. So as time goes on, I'm starting to think it's more and more like that, considering, again, what we're about to talk about with Viewer Anon does seem like The Last of Us 3 is about to pick up. And so if there's information that these insiders are getting, maybe it is for The Last of Us Part 3. It's just because gaming isn't their forte, maybe they just don't know what they're talking about, right? They kind of only give half the picture. And that is what I believe happened with this Daniel, leaker. So then we have Viewer Anon, who kind of came in to try to clarify, right? Because if you just go based off the first one, there's no Ellie and there's no Abby. It's just this new group. And it's like, for me, I would not do it. I know there's a debate online of, could you have left Joel and Ellie at the end of 1? I think you could have, but because you brought them into 2, this is where I stand. Because Joel and Ellie made it into 2, and because Ellie made it to the end of 2, right, and to continue on, I do think this game series is in some way tied to them. So to have a third game where Ellie is just literally not in it, even if Abby is and Ellie is not, I don't think that's right at all. I wouldn't like that at all. And you already have, by the way, a fan base that is pretty divided because of the second game. I would imagine you don't want to upset them too much, more than they already are, maybe. And I would say you keep Ellie. So that's maybe my spicy thoughts. I think the game is tied at this point to Joel and Ellie. I think Joel would continue to appear in like flashbacks or something with Ellie. I think that's the path they're going to go down because they are connected. So I think that would be a disastrous thing to do, to not have at least Ellie. If you don't want to have Abby, you may make some people very happy if you don't have Abby, but some people really like her and want her in it. So I think those two have to be honest with you, Abby and Ellie, I think both have to be in The Last of Us 3. And then Viewer Anon comes in and he basically says 2 things. Number 1, that they're going to be filming it this year, that's the plan. Later this year they'll start filming Last of Us 3, and then also Ellie has an equal, at least an equal role in Last of Us 3 as she did in 2. Now again, that'll maybe make some people happy, some people mad, whatever. She was half of The Last of Us 2, so at the very least she'll be half of The Last of Us 3. Again, that's probably a good thing. anything. I think just in the simple fact that she's going to be in the game. And you could say, well, again, viewer Anon, known for movies. He's primarily, I think, the most things he's ever gotten right, in my belief, is Scream, or at least he's so heavy on Scream, and I very much trust him for that stuff, and he has almost a 100%, record on all that. But he also talks about many, many different movies or projects, and he gets a lot of it right. So that's a guy I trust. Whereas that Daniel RPK, he does get things right, but he also gets things, I think, way more wrong than Viewer Anon ever does. So I'm going to trust Viewer Anon on this. I'm going to trust that it does film this year. I'm going to trust that Ellie is in the game. That's what I'm going to kind of steer to. And again, he was the first person to talk about the game. He just kind of outright said it. He was like, hey, Neil Druckmann is making Last of Us 3. It is happening. And then everything kind of fell from there. So this is kind of the originator of it. I'll stick with him until he's proven to be majorly wrong. So you let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure you're subscribed, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.